We'll do this. 7 moments. Kamala Harris explained in 7 moments. Hasanabi explained by one big moment, the top of the hour ad break.
38-year-old Kamala Harris was swept into office as San Francisco's district attorney, and as she did, she made history.
For too long, we've asked these very simplistic questions about criminal justice policy that offer only 2 choices. You know, either you're soft on crime or you're tough on crime. And instead, I suggest we should be smart on crime.
What was smart about the Smart on Crime campaign? You're telling the progressives, like, I'm not just going to throw everybody in jail. You're telling people who want, you know, more of a tough on crime approach that, like, I still believe in this. She was prosecutor coming out of the tough on crime 90s.
At a time when American drug policy was incredibly punitive. The idea was that...
Okay. We have to investigate Kamala Harris. No. How the fuck does she still look the same, bro? That's weird. Yo, what's going on? Bro, that shit is like, she was 39 there or something. Nah, that's weird. That's weird, man. Is she a vampire? I'm here to ask the fucking bold and brave questions. Nah, that's weird. I thought it was odd that she like obviously is 60 years old and looks like she's 40. But looking at her back when she was actually 40, I'm realizing I think she took a deal with the devil. Okay, 666. She ate the behemoth that kept her from aging. Like, I think she just got perma-stuck in her 40s. How long has she looked like she's 40 years old? It's the same one that Bernie Sanders ate. Maybe she is a real progressive after all. Because Bernie Sanders in like 1993 was like 150 years old. And since then, he has looked the exact same. And now he's like 250 years old, but he still looks exactly the same, you know? Telltale sign.
That tough on crime isn't working. What we need is the numbers rather than the emotions that are driving a lot of our policing.
Let's build metrics into our measure of how effective we have been with our criminal justice system.
The metrics by which she judges her success. As prosecutor, it's the numbers, the cases that you won.
I did an analysis of who our homicide victims were who were under the age of 25 when they were killed. And I learned that 94% of them were high school dropouts. Perhaps untraditional for me to ask the question, but I did.
She was raised primarily by a single immigrant mother who was a scientist. It's kind of like, what can you prove, not what do you feel?
Nobody is looking to their DA for soaring speeches about the future of democracy.
But I also think that women, in order to be taken seriously, particularly in politics, you do have to show that you have a command of the facts, the figures, the numbers, that you're not emotional.
And so that aspect of national politics has not come very easily to her.
Kamala Harris, a candidate for California's Attorney General.
Your opponent, Ron Gold, has said that he is for the legalization of marijuana recreationally. Your thoughts on that?
That he is entitled to his opinion.
It was very difficult to pin her down about what she thought about things.
Kamala Harris's stance on teacher tenure is not entirely clear.
She would try to say, you know, I'm a prosecutor.
100%. This is correct. I mean, they're trying to make her sound more progressive. And she did do certain things that would come across as progressive by those days' standards. But the reality of the matter is she did a whole lot that wasn't, okay? That's her openly shitting on the legalization of marijuana as an initiative, for the record. Make no mistake. She wasn't like pro legalization there. But also beyond that, she has quite literally talked about rehabilitative justice while simultaneously shitting on rehabilitative justice. I have videos of Kamala Harris from way back when she was openly talking, I think it was like the Chicago Ideas Seminar or whatever, where she literally is being like, it is a delusion to think that you can educate our crime problem. Like verbatim. Why you got videos of Kamala on your phone? I don't have videos of Kamala on my phone. I just remember things. Yeah. If you rewatch the whole speech at Chicago Ideas Forum, you get a very different approach to crime. Really? That doesn't match what she said about the Back on Track initiative? I know, which is why I'm telling you, she straight up flip-flops on that shit pretty aggressively. In the Chicago Ideas Festival, she openly is making fun of protesters that say build schools, not prisons. This is California that we're talking about. Yeah. Also, she looked at the dropout numbers and then did the most like cop thing you can do. She was like, oh, people do crime when they drop out of school. So what should we do? Prosecute people for truancy, which is, again, an insane thing. Like, my expectation of her is not to be this like super woke progressive DA at a time when that wasn't like a real thing. Yeah.
What?
Oh, this is the famous "You Don't Want Kamala Harris" video from 2019. Many of the DGGers will lose their minds when they see me watching this because they think this is why me and Destiny broke up when we were friends. Anyway, we'll continue with this.
Computer, I have to remain neutral about these things. I really shouldn't take a position.
I have many clients in that matter, so I cannot talk with you about what we're doing in terms of the case.
Very seldom is she like first on an issue, right? She kind of like checks out the temperature first, sees how others around her are kind of reacting, and then she jumps in.
I want to be very well informed about exactly where it's going and what the potential of my opinion would be before I just express something off the cuff.
She also enters public life at a time where you really didn't see any women of color in prominent positions in elected life.
It was a different time in a largely white political system. She had those ambitions from, I think, a very young age to make it in politics, to be highly successful, to make lives better for people. But I think she also knew that as a woman of color in positions that had always been held by white people, she wasn't always going to be the one who was out on the front edge. She's not a trailblazer in a policy sense.
California's Attorney General Kamala Harris announced that she will indeed run for the U.S. Senate.
Our new U.S. Senator, Kamala Harris! Woo!
Can you think of any laws that give government the power to make decisions about the male body?
So, in terms of analyzing someone's progressive bona fides, I consider a Senate tenure that was short-lived under a Trump administration to be akin to a Mickey Mouse ring, okay? Even though the Mickey Mouse ring actually is a very valid ring and maybe even a harder ring to win than normal NBA rings, I'm using what people colloquially mean Mickey Mouse ring. Why? Because Democrats love acting like they are literally fucking the most progressive people you've ever seen when they have no power. Okay? When Democrats are in a position of no power, they will go balls to the wall in terms of how progressive their policy positions are and what they champion. Kamala Harris was pro-Medicare for all. What I will say, however, that I think is interesting is that she also did run as a progressive in a field where there were many progressives. So that to me is a little bit more indicative that like her instincts at the very least were that saying that you are even for progressive causes will allow you to win elections.
I'm happy to answer a more specific question. But
That the government has the power to make a decision about a man's body?
I thought you were asking about medical procedures that are unique to men.
I'll repeat the question. Can you think of any laws that give the government the power to make decisions about the male body?
I'm not thinking of any right now, Senator.
Kamala Harris really thrives as a politician, and this makes sense in the context of her background when she is the one asking the questions.
They have not asked me to open an investigation, but...
Perhaps they've suggested?
I don't know, I wouldn't say suggest.
Hinted?
I don't know.
Inferred? You don't know. Okay. In your March 24th summary, you wrote that, quote, after reviewing the special counsel's final report.
But I will say that no one.
Sir, I'm asking a question.
What a lot of Americans saw was a senator who just seemed exciting, who seemed willing to hold the.
No one saw that. No. This is revisionist history. She had a couple good moments. Ain't nobody thought she was an exciting senator. Come on, bro.
These men accountable, not let them kind of worm their way out of the questions she was asking.
That was really important for Kamala Harris when she served in the Judiciary Committee. She knew how to turn conversations into really serious examinations and cross-examinations of the folks who were brought before the committee.
Bro. No, hearing moments do make the news, especially those hearing moments. They were heavily televised. The Brett Kavanaugh stuff was popping. People did like her for the Brett Kavanaugh shit. The reason why I'm disputing the narrative is not because like those things didn't get a lot of play on MSNBC. It certainly did. I just think it is ridiculous to claim that those moments actually led to like a lot of people being excited about her because of her primary performance in 2019. Like that's it. That's the only thing. Like it did not translate to like a Katie Porter style phenomena, right? Like I would say Katie Porter and her hearing and her moments and her pop-off moments and her hearings are almost iconic. Like I have obvious issues with Katie Porter, whatever, that's besides the point. But like people know Katie Porter and people know Katie Porter by the fucking whiteboard. You know what I mean? They know exactly what that's about. A lot of people, and she's had a lot more moments than just like that one-off with Brett Kavanaugh or with Bill Burr or Barr. They know Katie Porter as the woman with the whiteboard who just fucking rips into, you know, pharmaceutical CEOs, things of that nature, like bankers. Did I say Bill Burr? Bill Barr?
Almost like a perfect recipe there for her to introduce a version of herself to folks who might not know her outside of California.
I do want you to be honest.
I'm not able to be rushed this fast. It makes me nervous.
I think the fact that those clips went viral shows that there's an appetite, right? She is positioning herself as America's advocate.
You had donors, I mean, just busting down her door after that saying you need to run for president.
Yeah, this is, again, revisionist history. And also, regardless of what the fucking donors felt about her, she literally got dunked on so hard in the 2019 primaries. Come on. It's part of the reason why Joe Biden picked her.
I stand before you today to announce my candidacy for President of the United States.
Her campaign announcement in Oakland, I think there were 20,000 people there. I mean, it was just sort of insane. Expectations have become so high for her after those moments.
Senator Harris says she's proud of her record as a prosecutor and that she'll be a prosecutor president, but I'm deeply concerned about this record.
The 2020 primary happened in a political moment where the energy on the left and among progressives was very strong.
The 2020 campaign was when her background as a prosecutor was really a liability.
She tried to reposition herself as a progressive prosecutor because that was sort of the hot fad. And
And you got motherfuckers in here like Megaphonics being like, no, she was a progressive prosecutor. Like at the time, there was no such thing. Okay. That was not a thing. It was not a thing.
it never quite fit.
I am an advocate for what we need to do to not only decriminalize, but legalize marijuana in the United States.
I would never have described Kamala Harris as a progressive. She called herself the top cop in San Francisco, and then later when she was elected attorney general, like she used those language.
You know, her career sort of predated this idea of what a progressive prosecutor is.
She really had trouble packaging her background in law enforcement as palatable to the base. What you saw often was a candidate who just seemed to be trying to say what she thought would catch fire with the base at that point.
Who here would abolish their private health insurance in favor of a government-run plan? All right.
A lot of Democratic voters didn't feel they were engaging with a candidate who maybe actually believed that. And people walked away not entirely sure what she believed.
I never said she was 100% progressive. She did objectively do some progressive things that even today leftists be happy with. Obviously, she did bad shit too. I'm just saying. Don't make me pull out all your fucking takes. Where is it? She genuinely did some pretty base shit back in the day. The Back on Track initiative was really the genesis of rehabilitative justice. Bro, you did. You said it was the basis of rehabilitative justice. Like Kamala Harris invented rehabilitative justice. Look, why? Because she wanted to get prisoners to be educated. Megalib phonics. Was I wrong? She dropped recidivism from 54% to less than 10% with the Back on Track initiative. I don't know about those numbers. I will look into it. That sounds crazy. And I doubt that it's from just one policy initiative in general. It was only 200 people. I thought you meant in the entire state of California. I was like, bro, that is literally like a statewide implementation of an initiative that she put forward, dropped statewide recidivism from 54% to 10%. You deliver that information like I was about to be like, Kamala Harris is the greatest criminal justice mind of all time. Like, we're talking, no, better than Norway. 10% recidivism. God damn, dude. She implemented as DA in San Francisco and then AG. They ran a pilot program in LA. The point is she fucking did it and it just needs to scale. Let's continue.
She ran out of money and she struggled to break through.
Although I am no longer running for president, I will do everything in my power to defeat Donald Trump and fight for the future of our country.
Joe Biden is officially the Democratic Party nominee for president.
And I commit that I will, in fact, pick a woman to be vice president.
Post-summer 2020, we were in this George Floyd moment.
Biden was talking about passing the torch eventually to a new generation of leaders. And the idea that he would be picking a black woman, somebody who was younger than he was, suggested that he would be picking essentially an heir to the Democratic Party.
I have no doubt that I picked the right person to join me as the next Vice President of the United States of America, and that's Senator Kamala Harris.
And the road ahead will not be easy, but America is ready. And so are Joe and I.
The first year and a half of her vice presidency, not great, to put it mildly.
We've been to the border. We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe.
She was given the assignment of...
I love that. That's one of my favorite. That is actually low-key one of my favorite Kamala moments. And I haven't been to Europe. I love that. That is literally a Veep line. Dude, that is straight up Selena Meyer. God, I'm going to be fucking unbearable. But Kamala Harris is so Selena Meyer coded. I'm not even like, I don't know how to describe it. It just feels like she was invented by Armando Iannucci.
Of leading diplomatic efforts with Mexico and some Central American countries to address root causes of migration to the southern border.
This is a no-win issue, especially early in a vice presidency. You know, what Kamala Harris is going to solve El Salvador?
Do not come.
To the extent that there are even...
Okay, this person is like dick riding pretty hard. I'm sorry, but this person is, holy moly, dick riding Harris so fucking hard. Every time she says something, it's like, oh, what is she supposed to do? Solve El Salvador? No, it's not. Public correctional facilities have gone to private facilities by contract to have below 70% of capacity than the state has to pay. I worked at the Elizabeth Detention Center for INS. It's bought the money. Be real. What? Are you saying that they wanted to keep prisoner population at a certain level in an effort to make sure that they didn't have to pay for the entire process? Is that what you're saying? I mean, literally, though, she's the VP. What unilateral power does she have? Brother, that's a ridiculous abdication of duty and responsibility in this situation when you're talking about an elected position on a fucking ticket. It's the second most powerful part of the ticket. She was appointed the border czar. It was a fuck you move by Joseph Robinette Brandon. But what the fuck are we talking about? Why are we excited about Tim Walz then? I mean, come on. Like, the entire point of that, look, listen to me. Joe Biden fucked over Kamala Harris. I've been saying this. I used to make fun of this all the time. In the beginning of the presidency, I used to make fun of this shit all the time. Joe Biden would make Kamala do side quests that were like the worst fucking shit cleanup duty of all time. That's why she was on the border, okay? It is the worst possible job. They made her the border czar, bro. It's a fucking awful place to put the VP. It was revenge for her calling out Biden for bussing her in her youth at the debate. Yeah, yeah. Kamala Harris did not want to do shit about prison overcrowding. No, we know that already. Come on, we know that. I know that. I was joking when I was responding to that chatter when I said, "Oh, I sure hope that Kamala Harris didn't have a statement about prisoners in our overcrowded facilities."
Metrics to determine one's success in this role, they're probably not going to become clear for another decade at best.
She was definitely becoming a team player for the Biden administration, but she was also kind of turning her back on a lot of her previous platform as a child of immigrants, but also as someone who'd been a huge champion of immigration policy and immigration reform.
And she is interviewed by Lester Holt.
One of the first major media interviews that she gave, really introducing herself to a lot of Americans for the first time. Very basic and anticipated questions, such as, have you yourself been to the border yet? She could not seem to give a straight answer.
I'm here in Guatemala today at some point.
In the aftermath of that, there were not a lot of major media.
There seems to be so much to attack her. Why don't the Republicans do it? What, you think Republicans are going to shit on her for being tough on crime? What are you, insane? Dude, it's literally a cop versus convict race. What the fuck? Yeah, dude, Republicans are going to start buying ads in Texas to be like, Kamala Harris wanted to enslave black people further. It's like, what, you want her to win Texas? What? You're crazy.
Appearances for her. That one interview became sort of the anchor that a lot of Americans had when it came to, what do you know about this person?
The difference, obviously, between now.
Like, as much as I hate to admit this, policing as an institution is deeply fucked in this country, and yet policing as an institution is deeply popular in this country. I hate it. It's one of my, least favorite, probably one of the biggest mismatches between, what the reality is objectively and how Americans perceive certain things. I hate it so much. But Americans fucking love cops, okay? They love cops. That's why it's always so funny when people are like, we are not respecting our cops more. It's like, bro, there is literally no profession in the United States of America that receives, fellatio that they do not deserve more than fucking cops. They fuck up on a regular basis. It's built into the process that they get no repercussions for it. And yet Americans are literally 70%. They're like, oh, I love cops. Young people hate cops, dog. Your local police has a 68% favorability rating. Your state police has a 65% favorability rating. County sheriffs have a 62% favorability rating. That's a 38 net. There is no profession that is as consistently popular as cops. We are very unique. This might be, I'll be honest with you, I'll give it $150, okay? We in this community have a lot of opinions that do not reflect the broader American society. We're on the edge on a lot of shit, okay? This might be the one thing that we are diametrically opposed to the rest of the country on, okay? Straight up. U.S. Capitol Police is 52% favorable, 27 unfavorable. It's plus 25 net. That might be partially because of Coast Guard, Air Force, Marines, Navy, Army, Special Space Force. Space Force. I would not bundle county sheriffs in that same band as cops for favorability. No, dude, sheriffs is separate. And sheriffs are literally, what are you talking about? Sheriffs are literally less favorable than cops. Sheriffs have a net 38. Local cops have 44. Sheriffs are also awful in general. That's like, sheriffs are even worse than regular cops, which is crazy. Oh my God. Let's get back to Kamala Harris. I can't believe we just skipped around. We haven't done a single fucking news bit yet today. Joe Rogan, Kamala Harris, RG3's fucked up ass fade. Like, what are we doing? This is okay. Let's continue.
In 2020 is the Dobbs decision.
The moment where the Kamala Harris that voters are seeing right now really started to come into being was in 2022 when the Dobbs decision leaked.
The woman's right to abortion has been overturned and will lead to nearly total bans on the procedure in about half the states.
The significance of that is profound in terms of what it means for the rights of individuals, and in particular for the right of an individual to make decisions about their own body and not have their government tell them what to do.
Through my reporting, what I found was that she was virtually the only major official in Washington who understood the salience of that issue. Suddenly, she sees for herself a role.
Glaze, you're crazy, bro. What are you saying? She said, I researched the entirety of Washington and found out, bro, I don't even throat LeBron this hard, okay? As a matter of fact, you've become the LeBron of throating. You've become the RG3 of throating, Kamala Harris. What the fuck? She said Kamala Harris is the only woman who understood the salience of the issue of abortion in the Democratic Party. Bro, you literally said you wanted a four-way tongue fight with Katie, Steph, and LeBron. Okay, first of all, you're homophobic. Second of all, you're a racist white supremacist. And last but not least, at the top of the hour, there's a 3-minute ad break. And if you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe for $6 or for free. I didn't say that, any of that. You guys shut up. I didn't say that. People weren't in here when I said it. Why are you repeating the things I didn't say? Dynamic Jab, thank you for the 5 gifted. Edge Runner, thank you for the 5 gifted. Here's a 3-minute ad break now. Nah, you literally said that. Bro, it was an emotional moment. I felt pride. Okay? Pride in my country. Pride in the gay way. I felt it in my heart. I would kiss him. Whatever. I don't care. It was in the 15-minute barrier after watching LeBron highlights. I've already told you I am not responsible for the things I say. In that 15-minute leading up to the highlight and 15-minute, it's like the police camera. You know what I mean? You know how the police camera's like you before you turn it off or turn it on, it like still is rolling. And there's like a 30-second window that also is captured. It's like that. I have a LeBron window. If I'm going to watch a LeBron highlight footage 15 minutes prior, 15 minutes after, I am not responsible for the things I say. Anyway, let's continue with this.
Who understood the salience of that issue. Suddenly, she sees for herself a role in this administration, being the spokesperson for the Biden White House on the issue of abortion.
I cannot stress this enough. I'm going to run this back. I'm sorry. This woman, in all sincerity, said, the Dobbs decision leaked in 2022, and I researched everyone in American politics and found out that Kamala Harris was the only person who understood the significance of abortion.
When the Dobbs decision leaked.
The woman's right to abortion has been overturned and will lead to nearly total bans on the procedure in about half the states.
The significance of that is profound in terms of what it means for the rights of individuals, and in particular for the right of an individual to make decisions about their own body and not have their government tell them what to do.
Through my reporting, what I found was that she was virtually the only major official in Washington who understood the salience of that issue.
No, Glaze, that's crazy.
She was virtually the only major official in Washington who understood the salience of that issue.
it's not a thing that like you can't. This is an insane thing to say. I normally you could say like, oh, Hasan, you're like hyper focusing on what she's saying. Like, who cares? Move on. I cannot begin to explain to you how insane of a statement this is. Like, it is the most significant policy decision that impacts half the fucking population. Virtually every Democrat was screaming it for the fucking rooftops. No, it wasn't just Kamala Harris that like understood that abortion was going to be a big problem. Like that. What the fuck?
Suddenly, she sees for herself a role in this administration, being the spokesperson for the Biden White House on the issue of abortion. It's something that is very sincere to her beliefs.
This is about people having the freedom to make the decision that is in their own best interest.
I think that was hugely essential for her growth as a politician and just trusting her own instincts.
In America, freedom is not to be given. It is ours by right.
Now we're seeing her in more comfortable settings, especially in the last year, college tours, small businesses, talking about economic opportunity and loan cancellation, climate, and it's those kinds of forums where she really does shine.
We are not going back.
The speech that she gave in Wisconsin was really interesting, where she almost stumbles into a new rallying cry for the campaign. The folks who were in that high school auditorium latched on to that line and started chanting it back to her. And she realizes in the moment that she has stumbled upon a new phrase. It is specific enough to resonate with people. It's general enough to not necessarily have to define it too carefully. That kind of describes not just her campaign, not just this moment, but can describe a little bit of just how spoiled and rotten the vibes were in the country before Biden dropped out, because it's an opportunity for a lot of folks to be re-inspired and reawakened.
The word authenticity is often so fraught with racial and sexist undertones, but you look at the rallies, the talks that she's doing right now, this is a person who's having fun.
The most important thing I love you back.
That ease and confidence with which she is currently carrying herself is reflective of someone who knows that the story of her career basically is not a net negative for her.
I will proudly put my record against his any day of the week.
You've seen her kind of embrace her biography as a person, as a woman of color, and she's realized that her personal story is actually powerful and it helps her relate to people, it helps voters relate to her.
She's a complex woman who has complex ideas and is very cautious, steady, not going to rock the boat a whole lot, and down the middle, a consensus person.
I'll tell you, on the subject of my mother, and I keep saying this, but it's true, you know, she said, just since we were young, you know, you may be the first to do many things, but make sure you're not the last.
Really quickly, before you go, we have...
Was this ad sponsored by Kamala Harris's campaign? Because they should disclose that. You can't be doing this. You can't be posting a Kamala Harris campaign ad without disclosing that you're doing a Kamala Harris campaign ad. That was wild. Anyway, look. It's cool. Kamala Harris, what did we learn? She was, both progressive and aggressive at times as a prosecutor, as her, cop record. She was also the first woman to care about abortion. She discovered the importance of the issue of abortion for the Democratic Party. Have you considered this? Wait, what is... I saw the... If you replace the word Zionist with Jew in a sentence that you're about to say, and it sounds anti-Semitic, reconsider what you're about to say. But those are two entirely different things. Brace's response... Oh man, if you think that's bad, try putting the N-word in there. No bueno.